Sea otters spend most of their lives in an incredibly vibrant band of coastal water. I got to meet one of the world's foremost experts on marine ecology and go diving in the kelp forest to find out more about how sea otters positively influence the places they call home. Entering into the realm of the sea otter is entering a different world. Off the coast of Monterey, California, the ocean comes to life within the gently swaying kelp fronds. This is one of the most productive and dynamic ecosystems on the planet.
The kelp forest is a rather complicated ecosystem. They're growing very fast, so they're among the most productive systems in the world.
UC Santa Cruz Professor Emeritus John Pierce is one of the leading experts on kelp forest ecology.
This is my classroom, actually, for 25 years. It was a wonderful classroom. Take students out and they can see the world.
And when you first came here, this place looked very different and there weren't any sea otters, right?
There were not sea otters here. The sea otters were taken out here about 100 years earlier in the mid-19th century. I came to California in 1958 to Stanford. And at that time, there were no otters here. We did some snorkeling. When I first got here, we put on long underwear and swam out here and froze just to see what it was like. And we made our own wetsuits out of neoprene by just gluing them together and swimming around. And I remember when we first were here, the bottom was just purple with sea urchins and red abalones. And there was no kelp.
The reason there was no kelp was simple. By then, the sea otters had been gone for a long time, and without the otters, the kelp forest ecosystem had all but collapsed.
There's a lot of things that feed on the kelp. Urchins, abalones, snails, worms, fish, and the top of the system is sea otters. And sea otters are feeding on abalones, urchins, crabs, many of the things which are also feeding on the kelp. So that if you take out the otters, the urchins in particular, and other things expand, and after a while the kelp is pretty well removed.
So urchins are like a pack of locusts.
Like a pack of locusts, exactly.
The sea otter is what's known as a keystone species. They play a critical role in maintaining the whole structure and function of the ecosystem. When they returned in the early 1960s and began feeding on the sea urchins and keeping other grazers in check, the kelp forests quickly rebounded and flourished again. And with the return of the kelp, returned the web of life it supports.
The kelp provides shelter, provides food, so it's just a much, much more diverse and rich area. That's the whole story. If you want to have a fully developed forest, you want to have something to control the grazers.
Yeah.
And the grazers are urchins, really.
The kelp forest is a nursery for ocean life. Birds, marine mammals, fish, crabs, shellfish, and other invertebrates all use this vibrant habitat to live, breed, raise their young, and flourish. If you want a healthy and productive marine environment in California, you need healthy kelp forests.
You get down there and you see all these things, and it's just alive. You've got lots of red stars, which look like pieces of art. Lots of color to them. When I take my students out and teach kelp forest ecology, they would be out there doing counts and projects, and I'd be just living in a cathedral of extraordinary beauty and diversity. I feel like a spectator, just a spectator of the diversity of life that's in a system like that. I mean, really, when I said it's like a cathedral, I mean it like a cathedral. It has this almost a spiritual feeling of being in a system with all of this life all around you. They don't care anything about you. The fish, the seals, you can see seals swim by. They sometimes look at you, but usually they're just on their own vision. Same thing with otters now. You're in their world, and you're I think, very privileged to be able to be there. It's really a special place.
You know, when the sea otters returned here, some people were worried that the fisheries would change. And yeah, things did change. But with the return of the sea otter came a return of the kelp. And with a healthy kelp forest, you get more diverse and abundant fish populations. So maybe the next time we see an otter, all we really need to say is, thank you.